Okay, let's jump right into this. If you've been paying literally any attention to the news lately, you've probably had that nightmare, right? Waking up one day to find out your job is just gone. Not because the economy tanked, not because of a bad quarter, but simply because a machine learned to do it better, faster, and way cheaper. That fear, it's incredibly real, and honestly, it makes total sense. But in this explainer, we're going to completely flip that script. We're shifting gears from the sheer panic of AI stealing our jobs to the actually mind-blowing, massive new opportunities it's about to create. I want to validate your anxiety right off the bat here with this staggering prediction from Goldman Sachs. 300 million. We are talking about the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs globally that AI could automate by the year 2030. That is huge. We're looking at a landscape where 2/3 of jobs in the US and Europe face some serious AI disruption. And look, it's not just repetitive factory work anymore. Customer service reps replaced by 24/7 chatbots. Data entry vaporized in literally seconds as AI scans and processes everything. And if you think your cushy desk job is safe, well, think again. White-collar workers making 80 grand a year are taking the hardest hit right now, as AI just churns out complex reports and crunches massive data sets like it's nothing. So, that brings us to the ultimate million-dollar question. What new jobs are actually going to replace them? I mean, if machines take over all those repetitive data tasks and the factory floors, what exactly are we humans supposed to do all day? Well, that's where things get incredibly fascinating. Because historically, the death of one type of work is always the birth of another. To figure this out, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The job market shift, 2. The rise of AI oversight, 3. Unleashing human creativity, 4. The STEM and healthcare boom, and finally, 5. Education and reskilling. All right, starting off with Section 1, the job market shift, evolving past the drudgery. The disruption we're facing here is just monumental. Estimates show that up to 30% of our current work hours could be automated. That is going to force millions of occupational shifts. But, and this is a big but, if we manage this transition right, we could actually enter a kind of utopia where AI handles all that mundane, mind-numbing drudgery. Think about what that actually means for a second. It means unlocking human potential on a massive scale. When the boring, soul-crushing tasks are handed off to machines, we finally get our time and energy back. Time for art, for family, for actual exploration. It's a total game changer for how we value human time. Moving on to Section 2, Rise of AI Oversight. Who exactly manages the machines? Because here's the reality check. These machines cannot just run unchecked. You can't just plug an AI into a corporate network and walk away, right? Enter one of the fastest growing new professions out there, AI oversight. As AI systems weave their way into our daily lives, doing everything from drafting legal briefs to managing your medical scheduling, we are going to need a massive wave of professionals to keep an eye on them. And honestly, these aren't even necessarily coders. We're talking about people whose entire job is to supervise, correct, and collaborate with these complex systems. They're making sure the AI is operating ethically, catching its weird mistakes, and applying actual human judgment where a machine just lacks the context. Human-in-the-loop oversight, it's absolutely going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. Section 3, Unleashing Human Creativity, the Art of the Future. So, as AI takes over the incredibly mundane stuff, human creativity suddenly skyrockets to become our most valuable economic asset. We're going to see this really stark divide. AI takes the data entry, the repetition, the drudgery, and us, humans, take the art, the innovation, and the creative strategy. The exact opposite of automated drudgery is exactly where you're going to find your next big career opportunity. Sure, AI is great at processing existing information, but it takes a human to innovate, right? To dream up entirely new paradigms and creatively solve really messy social and business problems. Okay, Section 4, the STEM and healthcare boom, the data-backed growth sectors. Let's look at the hard data for the 2030 to 2040 timeline. Science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM field, are projected to see a massive 23% surge in job opportunities. 23%. As the global digital infrastructure expands just to support all this new AI, the folks who actually design, build, and maintain these frameworks are going to be in incredibly high demand. This is a huge, huge area of opportunity if you want to pivot your skills toward building the technical architecture of the future. But hey, it is definitely not all just tech. By 2040, we're looking at a demand for 5.5 million brand new roles in healthcare. 5.5 million. Why? Because you literally cannot automate human empathy.
Sure, an AI might schedule your appointment or summarize your medical chart, but it cannot hold a patient's hand when they're scared. It can't provide nuanced, empathetic care. As populations get older globally and healthcare systems evolve, the demand for human to human medical professionals, therapists, and caregivers is just going to absolutely skyrocket.
Finally, Section 5, Education and Reskilling. Welcome to the era of lifelong learning.
To fill all these millions of new STEM, healthcare, and AI oversight roles, the education sector itself has to undergo a massive boom. We're stepping into a completely new educational paradigm. First off, just surviving in this new economy means you have to commit to lifelong learning. You're not just going to go to school once and be done. You'll be constantly adapting to new tools. Second, governments are already scrambling to fund these massive retraining programs to keep inequality from spiraling out of control. And third, all of this means millions of new roles for human trainers, coaches, and educators. Reskilling is going to be a permanent, booming industry. Helping other people adapt to the AI era, that's probably going to be one of the most secure jobs you can possibly land.
So how do you personally prepare for all this? The source material lays out some really clear, actionable steps for adapting to this AI future. Step 1, start building your digital literacy right now. You need to understand how these tools work so you can oversee them. Step 2, shift your career focus toward the areas we just talked about, STEM, healthcare, or those heavily creative strategic skills. And step 3, make a rock-solid commitment to lifelong learning. The ground is going to keep shifting beneath our feet, and your ability to learn new skills, that is your absolute ultimate safety net. I want to leave you with this final, incredibly provocative thought directly from our source material. The future is not set in stone. It is entirely up to us to steer it. The policies we make, the safety nets we build, and the skills we actively choose to learn today are going to dictate tomorrow. So, will we steer AI towards some dystopia of mass unemployment? Or will we proactively build a utopia of incredible human opportunity? The tools are quite literally in our hands, and the choice is ours. So I have to ask, do you want to learn more about the specific skills required for these new professions? Let that sink in. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.